So, Dr Riaz, welcome to the programme. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So, we've had a few questions again come in on Facebook and Twitter, so I'm going to run through as many as I can. So, the first one is, what does super successful actually mean?
Super successful are those people who have outperformed. They've reached the top of the tree in their chosen careers. It could be A-list celebrities, it could be politicians who've reached the highest levels of government, it could be musicians, artists, executives who've gone on to be billionaires, that sort of thing.
Okay, so what are the key personality traits or experiences that super successful people have compared to, say, the rest of us?
Well, it turns out that actually there are some common themes if you look at the histories and the stories of super successful people. Some of them are about personality traits. They do seem to have a level of single-mindedness and focus from a very early age, and a sort of a self-confidence, a self-belief that the rest of us might not have. So it's similar to what we have, but just much more of it.
So single-mindedness, do you mean selfish in some way?
Oh, sort of, yes, a sort of a tunnel vision around the way they want to live their lives and what they want out of their lives, and the belief that they can actually achieve it. And it comes out quite early on as a child. So that sort of piece does come through from the stories of very successful people. But there's also some common experiences that they have. Most super successful people talk about the feeling of being an outsider when they were children. They may feel that they were let down in some way by figures of authority, so they had something to prove. There might be a desire to escape, so that the place that they grew up in felt too small. They wanted to broaden their horizons, and they thought that the world was a much bigger place than the one that the adults around them were leading them to believe. So those are the sorts of things that come out in if you start to examine the stories of people who've gone on to be super successful.
So, are super successful people driven by the same things as everybody else?
Broadly speaking, I would say so. So I think in the first sort of 20 to 30 years of life, most people are driven by the same sort of symbols of success. And by that I mean financial security, recognition by peers, status in society, all of the sort of trappings of wealth and success. By the time most people get into their late 30s, early 40s, those early drivers start to lose some of their power. And actually people have managed to get a degree of financial security, a degree of recognition. And so they're now looking for meaning. And most developmental psychologists who look at life stages and the way that people change would agree that from the mid-40s to the mid-50s is a time when people start to want to make a broader, bigger contribution to society, leave something behind, a legacy, and give something back. When you start to talk about super successful people, they just want to do more of it. They want to earn more money, they want to be more successful, and they want to leave a bigger legacy behind.
Okay, final question. So have you got any tips as to how we can become super successful in our own lives?
If we look at the lessons that we can learn from super successful people, they probably boil down to 2 or 3 things. One is never give up. So if you really think you've got a fantastic idea, then it doesn't matter if everybody else around you disagrees with you. Keep searching for people who will support you, and eventually you will find the sort of the network that you need. So I think that's one. They have super successful people just have this this ability to keep going even when everybody else has given up on an idea. So that's one thing. I think the other piece is the ability to get up after you've been knocked down. So not to take disappointment too personally, but just see it as something that's a means to an ends. So I think that's the second thing is the ability, resilience, being able to get up when you've been knocked down. And then the final thing is to have the ultimate goal in your head, and for that to drive you. What is it that's going to bring you happiness, and stay fixed on it? So most super successful people have big ambitions, big aspirations that can feel a little bit unrealistic to the rest of us. So it's sort of believing in your dreams, really, and believing that you have the ability to make those dreams come true.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Thank you.